Welcome back to Simple Truth. We're trying to pull some truths, some simple truths, even though I probably make them more complex, out of the story of David right now. We're in 1 Samuel. We're in chapter 19. We got through verses 2 and 3, right? We're talking about Saul and how King Saul is trying to kill David. David's anointed by God to be the next king. The problem is there's a king that's already there. That king, unfortunately, remained being king but lost the anointing. That's a whole subject that we've talked about a lot down here in different shows, right? Can you lose the anointing and still be in position, which makes people assume that you still have the anointing of God? You should probably spend a few minutes thinking about that simple truth. Is it possible, right, for you to be in a position because at one time God called you, anointed you, had you for the position, but through disobedience, right, through just moving on, through whatever it is, right, and God's anointing on you in that place, in that moment, is not there, but you continue to do that. We talk about this a lot in the pastoral world, right? If God calls you to move on to another church, but you refuse and you're still in a church, you still have the title as pastor. But do you have the anointing as pastor of that church? Now, again, the calling, irrevocable. God's called you to be a pastor, right? He's not going to remove that. He just may, right, decide you're not going to be in this place. This is Saul, right? He was an anointed king. The calling of king, irrevocable, right? Until God decides to take Saul out, right? And David was super concerned about that. I'm not going to touch God's anointed. At one time, Saul was anointed. He is the king until God removes him, right? We need to honor him as the king. Give honor, give respect to those who it's due. But that doesn't mean that he's God's chosen instrument. So hopefully I've not complicated that and muddied the waters a whole bunch. You need to honor your boss, even if you feel like he's not God's chosen instrument. You need to honor the people around you, your pastor, even if you think it's time for him to go, he's not God's chosen instrument for your church at the moment. So in 1 Samuel chapter 19, we have this whole scenario. Saul recognizes that David's been anointed, that he is going to be the next king, and he's trying to thwart God's plan. Verse 4, right, says this, "And Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, 'Let not the king sin against his servant David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his deeds have brought good to you.'" So Jonathan speaks on behalf of David to his father, saying, "Hey, I don't really understand this. Why are you coming against a person who has not come against you, right? And actually, you've benefited from his service to you. You're benefiting from him, right?" That's one of the things that can tell us whether or not we're off track in thought, word, or deed. Is, are we coming against people that are not against us? Are we coming against people, right, just simply out of the blue because we feel like we need to, because we're jealous of them, because we feel threatened by them, all of those things. There's a natural desire to come against people who are coming against us. They're attacking us. But somebody who's actually blessing us, praying for us, that there's no tangible evidence that they're doing any harm to us. We've just created this scenario where it looks like they're doing harm to us. If those people, right, right, are causing us to come against them in word, action, right, or thought, then we're probably off track. So again, Jonathan, advocate for David's coming to Saul, trying to reason with him. Like, what's going on here? Why are you doing this? Right? Not only is he not against you, but you're actually benefiting from him. Are there people out there that you may be benefiting from you? They might be praying for you. They might be fasting for you. They might be sacrificing for you. They might be helping you. Like, a lot of times this happens in the employee-employer relationships, right? We just don't like somebody. We don't like our boss. We don't think they're for us when actually there's a lot of evidence that they are for us. Just the simple fact that we still have a job means that they're for us. Or vice versa, for a boss, and we just absolutely believe that somebody's out to take our job or to get us fired. Or, we start acting on things that we believe. Now, in this case, understand what Saul believes is true. David is the next anointed, right? So this is not something that Saul's made up, but you're fighting against God, not fighting against man. Listen, there's a lot of truth in that, simple truth. Like, what is it in your life that God may have, right? May have stated, made as a fact, right? Promised to the next person. And you're fighting against it, thinking that you're fighting against human desires and human things when you're really actually fighting against God. God's declared it. Maybe you're a boss and maybe the person replacing you is right there and you can see it and everybody can see it. And rather than encouraging, rather than mentoring, rather than helping, rather than being a part of it, right, you're being apart from it. Right? You're causing stress with everybody. Distress, maybe because you don't understand. Maybe you don't know what God's doing. Maybe you can't see an exit strategy. Maybe you don't know where you're going next. Maybe there's a whole bunch of maybes. But God declares a lot of things, right, before they happen. And that allows a lot of things to happen, including choose this day who you're going to serve. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in this. A lot of different places I've gone in the last 5-6 minutes. I pray that you just kind of sift through some of the things and maybe it just gets you thinking. That's the whole idea. Not necessarily answers, here's what you need to do. But maybe you're feeling like Saul. Maybe you're feeling like there's somebody who's trying to replace you. Somebody who's out to get you. And maybe there's some voices coming up alongside saying, why do you feel this way? Why are you thinking this way? This person actually is helping you, not hurting you. So chew on that. Are there people out there that are helping you, not hurting you? Hey, we'll see you next time. Simple truth.